来说，我第一次做浮潜，
第一次
是跟我的想象不一样的。首先是那个设备，我不知道还要用这种设备，就是你嘴里要咬着一个东西，用嘴巴呼吸，然后你一头扎进水里的时候，你可以睁开眼睛，但是不能用鼻子呼吸了，要用嘴巴呼吸。所以从平时的用鼻子呼吸调整为用嘴巴呼吸，那个过程需要一段时间适应。而且头一次下水，感觉还有点恐怖呢，感觉有种很幽闭的感觉，有点恐怖。
When I go underwater, I feel like it's actually less scary because when you're on top, you can just see the sea going on forever. And it doesn't feel like it's ever going to end and you don't know what's underneath you. But as soon as you go under the water, you can see everything below. And I don't feel scared at all anymore because, yeah, it's just beautiful.
感觉整个世界都很安静，只有自己的呼吸声，还有你眼前看到的景象。然后我觉得真正让我感觉到很惊叹的就是我真的看到鱼的那一刻，而且不只是一条两条，而是像风暴一样。
Yeah, I was so amazed. There's so many more fish than I expected.
对，而且就不是一条两条，就真的像是沙尘暴一样的那样子旋转。我觉得我们用我们眼睛看到的更真实、更清楚、更震撼，用相机可能还捕捉不到那种效果，就是用我们的相机还不够。
感觉很害怕，就是 to breathe like that way。
It's okay, you're only just below the water.
那背着装可以让安排。I always had my head.
Yeah, there's two options if you want to do this. One is you get a guide, and you probably don't need to watch this video if you're doing that. But the other one is to go by yourself. And the most crucial things that you need are obviously the snorkel, the goggles, a PFD, which is going to stop you from, getting scared and anxious in the water and then drowning, or just losing control. Or if you get a stitch or something like that and you can't swim anymore, it's going to protect you against all of those things. You can hire all of these things in Hohai and a lot of places in Sanya. I think for less than 200 kwai per person, you could get everything very easily. And then the GoPro was like another 150. The flippers were another 50 kwai. So it can get quite expensive very easily. The other thing to think about when you're snorkeling as well is the high tide and the low tide. You can get apps that can check this kind of thing. But when the water starts going out, it starts bringing all the sand and stuff up into the sea. So the visibility is much, much worse. When we were going, we had to go before lunchtime. And if we went before lunchtime, then we could get way, way better visibility.
水下面什么都看不到，很浑。我觉得那里可能会更清楚。
还有一点就是我在浮潜的时候，有很多东西我都错过了，因为我视力不太好，有点近视。但是你在水下你又不能戴眼镜，戴眼镜它也聚不了焦，还是看不清楚。所以我听当地的教练说可以有那种隐形眼镜什么的，所以如果你也近视的话，那你可以去配一副隐形眼镜，就专门去帮助你去浮潜的那些眼镜，可以看得更清楚一些。
And when you're actually swimming, as long as you're a fairly confident swimmer and you've got the PFD, there's not much to worry about. Because if you've got the PFD, you're not going to go anywhere. But you do need kind of a sense of what the ocean is doing, because when the tide's coming out, it can be stronger, and the bays can create really strong rip currents underwater. So you need to be kind of with someone else, really, and ideally you're with someone who's more experienced than you. There are hidden dangers that you have to be really careful of. So if you're not sure of your own abilities, definitely recommend getting an instructor to take you out and do it. And then you definitely know you're safe, you're going to go to a good spot, and you're going to see the things you want to see.
特别是中国人很多不会游泳，不会游泳的话更危险，所以必须要穿救生衣，而且必须要有会的人一起去才可以的。
Yeah, I mean, if you can't swim without a PFD, I wouldn't recommend you don't go without friends who are really good swimmers or an instructor. And there's a couple of other safety things you need to pay attention to. Like, you need to just be getting your head above the water sometimes to check out where you are. You're not too far from the coast, you haven't drifted out where you thought you were. it's a good idea to check the weather and to check the tides before you go out, so you're not caught out with the tide going in or out and making it really difficult to get back. Or like a sudden storm coming and waves getting really big, that would be really hard when you're snorkeling.
还有个很重要的就是我们当时4个我们2个没有那种浮潜的鞋，
Oh yeah.
脚下有很多那种潮湿，很多硌脚的东西就很难受。但如果你穿那双鞋子的话，就很方便，很安全。浮潜完一定要去冲一下澡，海水那个把衣服打湿了，然后在身上，一直是湿着的，很容易过敏。
Like when I was surfing, my nipples were like starting to peel off because I was just lying on the surfboard and it's like scratchy.
还有这里。
Yeah, here as well. It's really, really red just after a few hours of surfing.
我的是我的大腿两侧，大腿内侧，2片肉就好像像肿了一样，就应该就是海水泡的了，所以很敏感，稍微一碰就会肿。
Just dries out your skin so much.
所以如果在三亚你去海边经常玩的话，不仅要有防晒霜，还要有这种身体保湿乳之类的。
Yeah.
很干的时候擦一擦就会好受很多，要不然太难受了。
Yeah. And that's another point. Like, it's very easy to forget about the sun when you're snorkeling, but it's very, very strong, especially when you're underwater. And a lot of feng shui shuang doesn't work underwater, so be careful what you buy. And that's why we're wearing clothes when we're snorkeling. It's just because it's more effective than any sort of sunscreen.
如果你们想来三亚潜水的话，就是做浮潜的话，可以来这个地方，这个码头看到没有？有很多石头，然后这里是船，开船坐船可以去到对面的蜈支洲岛，我们就在这个地方浮潜的，这里鱼很多。
We explored a few different bays. The best one, I think, was in Hohai, right?
后海那个码头。
Yeah, because on one side of Hohai, you've got the beach with like the clubs and stuff, and it's quite shallow. And apparently there at high tide, the visibility is quite good. But whenever we went, it was really murky. You couldn't see anything. And there was one point where our friend Aisha was swimming, and because you could only see like this far in front of you, she looked up, and suddenly there's a huge jellyfish in front of her, huge yellow jellyfish, and that kind of thing is kind of freaky. Like, that's a bit dangerous. I think it's just really amazing to be able to enter this part of Al Af that you can't see any other time. And you know, like when you watch it on a documentary or something, it's really not the same as being there, and like everything around you is moving, and there's so many different things all the time, so many different colored fish and crabs coming out of everywhere, little jellyfish floating by, and the reefs are all amazing different colors, and it's just such like a special, unique, incredible world. It's nothing like you can experience unless you go to those places and go underwater. I think if you went to Sanya and you didn't do Fuxian, you'd miss out on something really special.
浮潜也是我最喜欢的，在三亚。
More and more. ，Hey, how do you feel?
It was fucking awesome.
你喜欢吗？
I love it. I love being a fish. I hope you guys have enjoyed our little overview of kind of snorkeling in Sanya and what you can do, what you can see, and I hope you're inspired to try it yourself in one of the ways we mentioned if you go there.
如果去三亚，千万不要错过浮潜，是一个特别棒的运动。
Yeah.